All right, everybody, we're going to kick this thing off. Welcome to Thursday's edition of Continuing Education. We got an important topic to discuss today that I think touches on just about every single core value, and that is utilizing and setting up the Spark dashboard correctly to capture all sales and to troubleshoot with our family members, our owners out there, how we can utilize Spark correctly and make sure that it's always on and bringing us sales. So as the core values are related to this, I figured being organized is probably the number one key here, understanding what the Spark dashboard does, how you can tweak it, and how we can get our owners to understand all of the resources that Spark provides for them. Clearly being results oriented, the whole purpose of Spark is to drive sales. And if it's not on, then it's like a Maserati that's sitting there in the garage, not going anywhere. It's not being utilized. Second or third would be smart, right? Knowing what this thing does and how to use it. And of course, sense of urgency in closing catering deals, sending quotes out, and really communicating that those sales are hugely important to every owner that's in our family. So today's topic, driving sales with Spark. After we get through this, I'm going to turn over to Bethany here in a second. She is the guru of the Spark settings. But we want everyone to understand how to identify issues with online settings, how to successfully show owners how to activate and edit their online settings, and of course, the most important part here is closing the deal and successfully placing a catering quote through Spark. That way, it doesn't matter who the guest is talking to, whether it's the cashier, pit master, pit boss, or the owner, everybody has the ability to close a deal and get the minimum required information in order to close the deal. So that's what we're focusing on today. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Bethany, and she's going to walk you through it. Take it away, Bethany.
All right. So on the screen, you'll see a daily Spark tracker. Alexa sends this out every morning to you guys. And so we're going to go over it so you know how to utilize this tracker. It's very beneficial. On the first section, here we go. We have your store code, and this is broken down by region, so you can find your region. It's all organized for you guys. You'll have your store code. Those that are in red are going to be our ATO stores that need to be converted over to Spark. But for the point of this class today, we are going to focus on the other stores that already have Spark. So we have printers working. If it says no, then why is it not working? A couple of reasons might be due to wire, internet issues. In that case, we have an awesome troubleshooting guide that Alexis also includes on her daily email. They're pretty simple steps. It's just as far as making sure everything's plugged in. There's paper in the printer that is the right type of paper. And it will spit out an IP address for them. And on the troubleshooting guide, it will let you know if it is a correct IP address or if it needs further help. So if you're stuck on that, don't get stuck on it. Go ahead and call Alexis up. You can call me up. We can work with the owner to get it back online. If it's something that the troubleshooting guide does not, if we have a bad IP address after everything in that troubleshooting guide, let's get a boss ticket into IT and get it to the next level. The next section is, actually before that's the driver hours. So do they have a scheduled driver? This is important if they have direct delivery turned on. So they may tell you, well, I have direct delivery on, but I'm not getting orders. Well, do you have a scheduled driver? And we'll go over how to, one, check in Spark to see if they have a driver scheduled and how they need to do that and how to get it set up. The next section is for their catering. Do they have curbside turned on for catering? Do they have delivery? Do they have pickup? At bare minimum, they need to have pickup and delivery turned on. These are standards. There's no reason why pickup cannot be turned on. And it's a standard for us to do delivery catering. So those need to be turned on. If they are not turned on and you have a store that is down in catering sales, give them a call. Ask them, why is it not turned off? Maybe the owner did not realize that it was turned off and they are missing out on these sales. The next section is your everyday orders. Curbside, delivery, pickup. Again, at bare minimum, that pickup needs to be turned on. There is no reason why it should not be on. Alexis has done an awesome job the past couple of weeks identifying all the stores that have active Spark printers are now turned on for everyday pickup and catering pickup. So if you see that turn to no, then we need to address what's going on. Why did they turn it off? How can we help them get it back on? What kind of problems are they having? So we can make sure that they're not missing out on these sales. And then the last 6 on the right side. This will tell you month to date the sales that have come in from the app and from the website. This is great knowledge for you guys to have. So let's say you have another owner that says, well, I have it turned on, but I'm not getting anything. So it just doesn't work. Well, you can then say, well, I know it works. I have other stores in my region. It's working. They're pulling in, $600-700 this week alone. Then you can tell them, you can have a conversation with them. What are they doing? Are they marketing? You can't just turn these items on and expect the orders to start coming in. We have to market it. So then that's a conversation of, we have great resources on Market Resource Center for curbside and for delivery that they can access and have printed. And they can also put in a boss ticket for artwork if there's something special that they like. But do they have collateral up in the store that shows that we have an app, that we have a website that they can order from? Does anybody have any questions on how the Spark Tracker works?
It looks like a great tool. I've used it a few times to pinpoint stuff. When you go to a store, you're going to make a visit, it's easy enough to write that down in your notes. Check it while you're there, talk to the owner about it. That's a great way to follow up, I think.
Here's a question. Can everybody, or how about I'll ask it this way. Does anybody not get this email, or have they not seen it? Maybe it goes to your clutter or your spam file, but I get it every day, and I open it and look at it, but it's one thing to look at it, it's another thing to use it. Anybody on this call that can hear my voice, is this the first time that y'all are seeing this daily Spark Tracker for whatever reason? Don't be afraid to raise your hand. Well, unmute your mic at least. Cool, so I guess that means everybody gets it and they know that it exists and they're looking at it every day. Awesome. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do here next, y'all, is I'm going to share my desktop here, and we're going to walk through the actual Spark dashboard and the various steps in addressing how to turn it on, what it should look like from the dashboard side, and also how to make sure that there's a driver scheduled and how to quote and what to do with a quote and when to send the quote and all that good stuff. So lots of good information on this screen share here. I'm gonna turn over my desktop to Bethany because she's, like I said, the guru on it, and we're gonna walk you through just from the start to finish. So I'm gonna let Bethany take over. All right, go ahead.
All right, so let's get. Sorry, guys. All right. Let's just talk about making sure that they are online and active. So you see that a store is not online or they're having printer issues. This is where we are going to double check. You're going to see that the status here, verify that it says it is online. If it is offline, it is going to be one of those issues, possibly with wire, internet, they're out of paper, and the troubleshooting guide that's in the email will help you cover those issues. Also, the active section needs to be toggled on. The store does have the ability to toggle it off. In that case, it does not show online anymore and will not be able to take orders. So we want to make sure it is toggled on. Does anybody have any questions about this part?
Bethany, is there ever a reason that an owner should not have delivery activated, or that this should be not active?
There shouldn't be. They should not have this turned off. If they do, they're missing sales and they're potentially losing a guest for life because maybe they have it turned on last week and they ordered from them and now it's turned off and they don't think that this is an option. That can be frustrating.
Well, what if an owner comes and says, "Well, I don't have a driver. It's just me and a pit boss in the store."
Well, then the owner needs to be the one making the delivery. They've got the pit boss in there to take care of the store, and they need to go out and make the delivery.
So the answer is there's always a solution outside of, okay, cool, turn it off for 30 minutes. That's never a good, because Murphy's Law, everyone knows what Murphy's Law is, right? Murphy's Law says if you have it turned off for 30 minutes, that's when someone's going to want to place a $300 delivery order,
Yes.
and you're going to be off. That's just
Plus
the way
they
it
forget
goes.
to turn them back on a lot of times.
Oh.
Right. And, in the land of 1,000 things wrong, which is also known as a restaurant, there's a lot of things that are going to distract you from possibly remembering to go toggle it back on. So I believe it's also on the open and close checklist, if I'm not mistaken, to verify that your Spark dashboard is active in the morning and then another time in the evening. So again, remembering all these thousands of things that you have to do becomes real easy when you use your checklists and you use the core forms.
So definitely. Double click on the location, and you're going to see at the top it says location settings, menu settings, and order settings. We're going to want to go check the order settings. This is going to let us know the maximum number of orders allowed in a time slot. The bare minimum that they can choose is 3, but they can turn that up more if they have the crew to handle more in a time slot. So as we discussed before, pickup should be turned on. There's no reason why they shouldn't have this turned on. You'll want to make sure that this is toggled to yellow. There's a minimum order amount, can be 0, should be 0, so we're not missing any sales. Minimum number of items, and any additional charges or discounts that they might want to offer. Say they want to offer their online order guests to have $5 off, then you can put that in the discount amount or a percentage. And then you can also adjust your lead time. So if you do have an owner that's struggling with maybe getting the pickup orders, then talk to them about it. We can adjust the lead time. We can take it down to 15 minutes. We can increase it to 45 minutes or an hour. Of course, we don't want to increase it if at all possible, but let's work with the owner and get this set up for success for them. Also, it's the same thing for catering. You have pickup catering. This should be turned on, and they can adjust their lead time on here as well. Then here we have the delivery options. You have, again, the minimum order amount and any additional charges. So this is, Brad talks every morning, 10, 5, 45 minutes. So a $10 minimum order, $5 delivery fee, and a 45-minute lead time. We have a lot of owners that do take the additional charge, the delivery fee, down to 0. That's a great, they can either get from the Market Resource Center, they can get collateral that has the promo code for free delivery, and they can leave the $5 charge, or they can change this to 0 and go ahead and advertise that either in the store and online for free delivery. And you also want to make sure that they are set up for success on their delivery radius. So in some areas, it's going to be a smaller radius. It may be in the larger cities that they cannot go 60 miles. But for some of our rural areas, they typically do have a larger radius. So make sure to discuss with them what can they successfully do, and that matches up with their lead time as well. And again, we have the catering delivery options here, and followed by curbside. And make sure that when they change their settings that they click update to make sure that it is saved.
Always remember to click update.
Yes. So it's pretty simple. We just want to make sure that the owners understand this and they know how to set this up for themselves. And also with labor settings up here at the top is where you're going to find the driver schedule. So not only do we have to input drivers, which you can do by adding the plus sign here, they will toggle on for delivery that this person's being scheduled for delivery, put the employee's name, and then the times that they're in and out for delivery. If they want to set it up so that each person has their own delivery time, they can do that. Or if the owner themselves just wants to schedule themselves indefinitely, like Scott has done here until March 2020, then that works too. They can schedule out years in advance so they don't have to worry about this ever coming off and missing direct delivery sales.
Oh, that's a hugely important piece to note there. I mean, this little button, this little yellow button right here, and the time in and time out is huge. We mentioned before that there should never be a reason why the delivery should be off. And if you get the kickback, well, I don't have a delivery driver, then this is a great solution. Hey, you know what? Schedule yourself. If you're the owner, schedule yourself from now until the day before Thanksgiving, right? And then the day after Thanksgiving up until Christmas, and then the day after Christmas up until the day after Thanksgiving, right? So there should never be a time when there isn't at least one person scheduled to drive to get deliveries, because you can do all these other things and have the delivery minimum set at $5, 45 minute lead time, $10 minimum. But if you don't have anybody scheduled, then you're not going to get an order. All right, if your printer isn't working, then you're not going to get an order. So there's a lot of important pieces to this, but those two things right there are probably the two, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, are probably the two, I guess, the most powerful weapons that we have in making sure that Spark is always on and that we're not missing out on any orders. You know, a lot of feedback I get from owners in Barbecue University is, well, what if I get 15 orders at the same time? How do I handle that? Well, the answer to that is you're not going to get 15 orders at the same time, because you've set on your order settings, you've gone through and you've had your maximum number of orders at 3 or at 4 or whatever you set it to. So I think a lot of the opportunities that we have out there, and we can discuss this too, is owners just not understanding how this thing works and how it works for them and how they can customize it based on their particular situation. So if there's anything that we take away from this, it's that should always have somebody scheduled, even if it's the owner, even if it's for a year or 2 years, and then you always have to have your printer working. If you do those two things, the rest of the details here are not as critical as those two very important things.
Yes, agreed. And to take it a step further, make sure that they're marketing this. Are they putting this out in their stores? Are they telling guests, hey, order from us, online or through the app, we'll bring it out to your car? Just make sure that they're talking about it, that they've put Facebook posts out there, handing out flyers. They don't want to miss these sales, and they're easy. I mean, we're in this time frame where you're coming home from work, you have very little time, maybe you place the order before you leave work, you want to pick it up, you don't want to have to go in, stand in line, place the order, wait for them to put it together. You've got it already ordered, you're ready to pick it up, and you're out the door ready to go home.
One more thing that I'll add before we switch over to how to do a quote. The story I always tell NBU and to anyone who asks about delivery is we tried just about every marketing piece when we were rolling this thing out, from a big giant billboard to foot traffic in the neighborhood behind the store, putting door hangers on, signs out in front of the store. I mean, everything that could be done, Valpak mailers, marriage mail, whatever you want to call it. We did everything. But the most effective tool, the biggest builder of awareness around direct delivery was in store, right? Chop and Chat is not just the pitmaster talking about upselling a rack of ribs or an additional quarter pound of meat. Chop and Chat is every touch point with a guest in the four walls or on the phone. And we got a lot of immediate return on investment when we had guests that came in to pick up an order, and we simply asked, do you live or work in the area? Right? It's a real simple question, gets the conversation going. Most of the time, they do. And your next response is, okay, cool, well, did you know that we deliver? Here's a coupon for $10 off your first delivery, or free delivery for your first time. 9 times out of 10, probably even closer to 10 times out of 10, the next day we would get that guest that you had that 30-second conversation would place a delivery order. And then they would do it again and again and again. So it's that in-store rapport, that face-to-face communication that really, it's easy, it doesn't cost anything, and you get an immediate return if you do it right. And it's just a 30-second conversation, just a quick name drop, direct delivery, do you live or work in the area? And that right there, if you can tell that to an owner, if they're struggling with the fear of, well, how am I going to get this thing out? Just a conversation. You're having conversations with guests every single day, all day. That's what we do. We're in the people business. We serve people. So just work that in, and I promise you that your owners will start to see a return on investment, and they'll get a little bit less fearful about, what if I get 20 orders? Well, if you get 20 orders, that's a good problem to have, right? If you have 20 orders that you're struggling to find people to take, well, that's a good problem. It's a bad problem that you've got this thing turned on but no delivery driver scheduled. It's a bad problem that you have this system set up that they're paying for that they don't utilize and they're not getting any revenue from it. So those are the bad problems. The good problems are having too many sales to take care of, right? That's not necessarily a problem. That's a win if you ask me. So, all right.
Any questions about how to get things activated, get these settings activated before we move to the catering quotes?
Yeah, we got 25 people on the line, and everybody fully understands how to check the order settings and make sure that everything is good. Oh, there's somebody. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm good on all this. I just got very helpful though.
Okay, we got you, Kurt. Thank you for feeding back. Appreciate it. All right, Bethany, if you want to go to the next.
Awesome. So let's talk about catering quotes. So several of us in the office have been doing secret shops lately on these stores that are down on catering sales. One of the things that we have found is they do not know how to close a catering deal. And we want to provide a helpful tool. We realize that it is a skill that they need to learn. And this is one way that they can utilize Spark to close a deal and get their catering sales up. So we will go to caterings over here on the left side of the board on their online dashboard, and to over here on the right side is a circle with a plus sign. We'll want to click on it and create a new catering. It will pop up the location. All right. So this is just letting us know what the status is, and for the purpose of this class today, we're just going to go with lead. This is a catering lead, a catering quote. We'll create, and this is where you can start getting the customer's information. When you're on the phone, they need to get as much information as possible, but at the bare minimum, let's get their name and their phone number at the very start of the call. You know, if you don't feel comfortable asking for their information, you can always say, let me get your name and your number in case we get disconnected. It's an easy first step, and making sure that our owners and their stores are going and getting the contact information. We are not seeing that when we do the secret shops. But let's go ahead and get them to enter their name. And you can put their email in here and their phone number. Over here, you will go to event info. So you can ask them, how many people are you serving? When is the date and the time? We'll say it's for next week. Location type, is it residential? Is it business? Handoff type? Dine-in, pickup, delivery, curbside. This is important, and whether or not they want delivery, I'll add in the delivery fee to their quote as well. If you have a guest who is returning, you can search for their info up here on the customer section, and you can search specifically for their name to see if they're existing. Great. So next we'll go over at the top where it says order items, and here they can create the quote for the food part of the quote. So click on subcategory, and we'll want to click on catering services. Under catering services, item will pop up, and this will give you the standard box lunch, the deluxe box lunch, delivery buffet, and full service buffet. So let's just pick deluxe box lunch. And let's say that they had 20 people. We can come over here to the left side and adjust the number from there. Okay. And you'll want to make sure to go through Do they want pickles, onions? What kind of chips do they want? Do they want, we'll just say they want Fritos. Do they want pork, beef, chicken? And what side they would like to go with it. And if they want sauce, and any special instructions that they might want to include here. Okay. On the right side, these are going to be for additional charges. So if they charge an extra $1 for sausage, then you'll see the $20 added over here as well. If you scroll down, this will give you also a chance to put order special instructions if they want anything on the side, held off, say, any of those special instructions. Also, place for tips. So let's say they want to go ahead and add 20% tip. They could do that here. And any discounts that the owner is willing to give, whether it's in percentage or in dollar amount. And we'll just say that they told them they'd go ahead and give them $20 off. Okay. And of course, update. Always have to update.
Click the update. Yep.
Yeah. So I'll give you the subtotal price, the discount, and the total tax, and the total price. And they can give this information on the phone. This is also helpful in reducing clears for the store and getting those catering quotes off the POS. Payment. Here they can go ahead and take payment. Well, let's say that they were doing cold calling and they got somebody to agree to do catering with them, but they just don't feel comfortable giving their credit card information over the phone. Or you've got somebody that they've called in, they're ready to do a catering quote, they want to do it, but maybe they need to talk to their supervisor to get approval. Or they're going to call a couple other places. If you cannot get the deal closed, let's go ahead and email them the quote over. You can export the quote info here as a PDF, or you can select email customer. This is a great tool because it will also give them a link to pay online.
Nice.
Oh, we didn't enter our customer, so there's not email in there. Real quick, guys, and we're getting down to the wire here. It's 3:29, and we know that y'all have everything to get back to doing. But another simple fix here for not losing a deal is empowering the pit crew and the pit bosses and the owners on the phone to ask one simple question. So when a guest calls in to ask about catering, the first thing out of your mouth should be, sure, can I get your contact information in case we get disconnected? Because what happens a lot of the time is you've got guests driving down the road and they see a billboard, or they get a text message from husband or wife or daughter, hey, can you pick dinner up? Or, oh my God, I forgot to schedule a catering for our office meeting for tomorrow. And they might be driving under a tunnel, and they go to Google and they say, oh, there's a Dickies right here. They cater. Awesome. Let me call them. And they call, hey, I need a catering. Okay, cool. Let me tell you about it. It's 2 meats, 3 sides, and you go on this 10-minute explanation about what the catering is. Call gets dropped, and they're going, oh shit, I guess I'm going to call the next place, right? So the most important piece here to not losing a deal, even if you don't have your dashboard up, if you're not, whatever it is get the guest's name and contact information. If you can get a number and an email, that's better, but you never want to have the response be, well, my manager's not here, can you call back? They're not going to call back. They're going to call the next place and the next place until they get exactly what they're looking for, which is a quote with a dollar amount and confirmation that you can deliver the order. So at the very end of the day, that needs to be the conversation. And we've got resources available as well on the Smoke Pit. There's a video resource that I'll include in the recap of this call today. And there's also links to the old school catering order pad, right? If they don't have the dashboard, or they don't have the tablet in front of them, maybe it's being used or it's not conveniently right there with them. The catering order pad has all the same information that this the Spark dashboard CRM does, and it's an easy way to just get that information, write it down, and then follow-up step would be enter it into the dashboard so that we have that guest information in our database. So those are the important pieces here. We probably will do another one of these next week or the week after, going into a little bit more detail on how to do a quote and proper quoting and how to close and some more sort of best practices there. But real quick before I let y'all go, does anybody have any questions about this or any resource that I can send you after this call to sort of put a bow on this thing and make it to where you have all the answers you need.
I do have one question. I had an owner once tell me, or kind of recently, that when I recommended using this versus, to eliminate clears or whatever, using the register, he told me it was too slow. And I couldn't understand how that could be, but is there any validity in that, or any reason that would happen?
No, I think the answer would be, okay, yeah, it is. If it's slower than writing the order down, writing the information down, but I would direct them at that point to bust out the catering order pad. And then once they're done with the conversation, they've closed the deal, they got all the information from the guest, then go into the dashboard and enter the information.
Okay.
And it could be anything from their server connection is slow if it's a Wi-Fi issue.
That's what I was thinking.
Or if they're on, ideally they're on the pad, they're on the iPad doing this, but if they're in the back house computer, for example, and then they've got 18 windows open, or they're running low on memory, that would cause it to lag a little bit.
Okay.
But having the double-edged sword of, hey, I've got my order pad information here with all the information I need to enter into the dashboard, and I've got the dashboard. I mean, with that, there's literally no excuse not to
They
use
can
it.
literally use the pad and then say, I'm going to email you a quote right over. I've got all your information. They're going to go to Spark.
Correct.
Enter all the stuff in email.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Yep, and that way they've got something in their inbox that is a link back to the store to follow up on closing the deal.
And on an added level, especially with these owners that have multiple locations, to stress that they want their stores entering these catering quotes on Spark so the owner can keep up with this, the multiple locations and the catering leads. Are they following through?
Does it save all the quotes? Once
They
they're in
can
there?
access the leads
Okay.
that they have, and the owner can follow up. Why was this not closed? Did you guys call them back? Why did we lose them? We can address that at that point.
Good.
All right, y'all, we're 3 minutes over. One last round of anybody have a question, comment, anything before we let you go? All right, beautiful. Look for the email in this, send me your recap notes, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Betsy.
Thanks,
Scott.
guys.
Good stuff.